Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Brick Cats. As always, if you can subscribe, leave a like or a comment, I greatly appreciate it. Your support means more great mock reviews in the future. Today, I'm going to do something a little different. Some of my Bricklink orders got delayed, so I don't have my bi-weekly-ish mock review. Hopefully, that'll be coming next week. So today, I wanted to go through a couple of things that I use on Bricklink or a couple strategies rather, to reduce your cost and hopefully make the best use of your existing inventory. As much as I love Lego, it can be an expensive hobby, and mock building, especially if you don't have a large pool of parts to draw from, can be a little daunting, especially some of the larger ones. So anyway, I thought I'd use the UCS B-Wing set 10227 as an example of how I would go about doing this. I didn't want to use one of my actual projects that I'm working on, only because I paid for the instructions and the parts list, and I didn't want to give those away. Um, out of respect for the designer. Plus, it probably violates some kind of terms of service or something. But anyway, the B-Wing is a good example for a couple of reasons. First, it's a very expensive set to buy new. Let's check here. So yeah, I mean, you can see that we're looking at 350 US, and that's internationally. So if you go over here and look at North America, where I'm based, for a used one, you're looking at $420. Yeah, no thanks. Or upwards of 450 for a new sealed one. I'll pass. That seems like a lot to me. But the B-Wing is a pretty nice looking set. So anyway, if I wanted to build this just using, random parts, let's see what that would take. So, first step is to create a wanted list. And I already did this. Nope, I did not do that. Here is the one. Nope. Well, let's just create a new one. So to create a new wanted list from a set, you can see what things I'm working on right now. You type in the set number, or you can just search B-Wing. Click on it, you part out here, and you add it to your wanted list. What was that one called? B-Wing UCS. You submit for edit, and basically I don't really bother with these at this point, and we just add them all to the wanted list. Now we can view. So 285 different elements are in this set. So one feature that I really like on Bricklink, and it kind of helps me, focus my efforts, is to hide things that you already have. And at this point, it doesn't really matter, but I'll show you why that kind of helps. So if you get your wanted list all ready, I usually have 100 lines per page. Um, the first thing I like to do is I like to go through, obviously, and see if I have any of these parts. Now, a couple of things are important here. Since this is a Star Wars model, you're predominantly going to be using light bluish gray, dark gray, or black, maybe, depending on the model. So the first thing that stands out here, as you scroll through all these parts lists, is that some of them are crazy colors, like green. Green usually doesn't have a spot in Star Wars, so um, you know, blue might not have a spot either. So for these particular ones, I'll save you the research, but these aren't shown on the outside, so these can basically be any color you want. So for example, if I have a bunch of, say, yellow 2x3 plates, maybe I have 9 of them, I can count these as already done. Oh, but first, actually, let's check and see how much this would cost if I was going to make no changes. So if I wanted to buy all these parts individually, let's do buy all. Again, I'm in North America, so you can change this region to wherever you are. Uh, Algorithm loads a bunch of stores, so you can see that this is the number of unique lots present at that store. And minimum buy. And you can manually select these if you want. That's probably for a different video. But anyway, I'm just going to do auto select and start. You'll see up here that I excluded disliked stores and stores that don't ship to me. Also, lots below wanted quantity means, if they don't have number of, or sorry, what does that mean? Anyway, I forgot what that means, but I usually just check it. So anyway, if you look here, one, two, three, four, five, six, six stores and $423.32. That's actually not that bad. And you can see up here we have 1,487 out of 1,487 assigned. That's great. That's what you want. Sometimes if there's some weird like minimum lot purchase requirement, this will be less than the total part count, and that's obviously not ideal. So this is not bad. We can do better. So let's go back and see how we can make it a little better. So I'm going to check hide items if the have quantity is greater than or equal to want quantity. Okay, so what I was saying is that if there's a crazy color that you know is not going to be on the outside, and to do that, you go to the instructions. So let's see if we can find a red 1x2 brick here in the B-Wing instructions. And these are all available from lego.com. You can just search, 10227 instructions or whatever, um, and you'll find it. So for example, the very first step has you putting on this 2x6 red plate. Clearly, you don't see a 2x6 red plate in the finished product, so let's go and find that. Here we go. So say I've got a bunch of yellow 2x6 plates. I can put in and say I have 19 of them. What I do is I put in the quantity I have, and I just put yellow. Or, maybe I have 10 yellow ones and 9 green ones. So I would put 10 yellow, 9 green. Oops. You can do this however you want. It doesn't really matter if you put in the quantity of each one, as long as you know that every time a red 2x6 plate shows up in the instructions, you're going to use either yellow or green. And I save my changes. So now, since I have 19 out of 19, and I refresh, that goes away. Means I'm done with it. I don't have to think about it. So same thing with these 4x4s, maybe the 4x6s, 4x8s, sure, whatever. The green, let's say I've got 7 of those. If I was doing this for real, I'd probably put in the actual color. Oh, and you can also see here that, we started at 285, but since we've completed 4 element counts, if you will, they disappear from the list that you're viewing. So you can do that with any number of these, and it's a good thing to do if you've got a spare inventory, or you've taken apart a different mock that you've already that you're done with, or you don't want anymore. You can go through and add in a bunch of random quantities here. If you've got those parts on hand. So that's what you do with kind of the off colors that are not going to show up. It's like green Technic, no way. Okay, so now the next thing you want to do is go back to your list and you want to look at all these prices. So I'm going to say that you probably want to average or you look for things that are outliers, right? So 92 lots, 191 parts for $42. That's not that bad. And I have these sorted by price because you're going to get the most for your time if you focus on the items that cost the most. And my cat is meowing in the background. So for example, 8x16 dark bluish gray plates, that's the most expensive item in this particular store. It's $1.20. That's about as good as you're going to get with these large plates. So that one's not too bad. A 6x6 tile, use 8 of them for $1.13. We might be able to do better than that, but that's still not that much. So this store is okay. All right, 17 lots and 84 items for $78.74. So there's something going on here. So let's look at that. All these are fine. So the first thing I noticed about these are, all of these prices are a little high, not too bad. But this one in particular, the windscreen 10x6x3 bubble canopy, B-Wing starfighter pattern. So this is a unique part to this set. It only came out in this set, and that's why it's $35. I think we can do better than that. So let's see if we can find a substitute. So I'm going to copy windscreen 10 by 6 by 3, and we know what it looks like, so that's not too bad. And we can go up here, paste it in, and search. Oops. I guess I can't do another tab. That's fine. All right, so here is the B-Wing windscreen. And again, I'm going to search by North America. So you can see that there's 27 of them available from Construct Toys, 2 available from BB Brick Store, and that's the one that we that came up in our algorithm, and 7 from this store. You can see that these prices are significantly different, right? So here's the thing. One of my other points was that you want to reduce the number of stores to the extent that you can. However, in this case, $35 versus $10. Uh, shipping for this item is not going to be, more than the difference between 35 and 10. So in this case, I would probably um, add one from this store. However, there's a minimum buy, so that's why it didn't show up in the algorithm. Um, and then, remove this from BBB Brick Store. Of course, let's see here. So let's try and go back. We'll auto select again. Oh, and you can see that even in time between when we, um, first ran the algorithm and now, it's changed because we have added parts in our inventory, like the 2x6 red plate. So you'll see that the price went down by $2 and 80 cents or something like that. And now the algorithm is sorting by the remaining parts, and it's come up with a different recommendation. So Construct Toys, that's the one that had the Starfighter pattern for $10. So if you really want that exact windscreen, you can stick with this. It's kind of nice. It actually comes with a sticker sheet too, so not bad. However, we could also come back here and look at the list. So here is that B-Wing Starfighter windscreen, and these other two look pretty similar. And let's just click on one and open it. Yeah, so if we've got this one here versus the B-Wing. Let's see what these look like. I guess they're different angles, but you get the idea. No one's going to notice unless you're a real stickler, or if you really want the actual parts and you're okay with spending $10 on it, that's fine. I probably wouldn't, so I would probably just add this Jedi Starfighter windscreen, and looks like those are significantly cheaper. 40 cents, 52 cents, upwards of $1. Um, so 1/10 the price for basically the same thing looks good to me. So let's say I add this to the wanted list all the way to the bottom. And let's go back to the wanted list. There's a lot of clicking involved in this, sorry. We can just search windscreen. All right, so here's our replacement, and here is the original. I would put I have one and make a note. Very expensive. Substituted 50986PB003. That's this one here. And save. So let's go back and see what our algorithm reveals now. So now we're at $395. So that one change did save us what used to be $420, now it's $395. So now we're down, another $25, which is awesome. So moving on, our next is going to be this guy. So sticker sheet. If you really care about the sticker sheet, then I guess you don't really have a choice. You could go with that. I don't, so I'm going to take that out too. And then we'll come back and run the algorithm in a second here. Let's just look for more outliers. So we decided this guy was okay. 48 lots, 247 pieces for $65. So that looks a little high to me. So let's check. These are all fine. Okay, the wheel 75 millimeter motorcycle, $3.59. That looks a little expensive to me. So let's find out where these are in the instructions and see if we can make a color substitution. Uh, Odds are dark bluish gray is going to be okay, but I'm not sure. So I looked this up beforehand, and this appears in the cockpit section. All right, so you can see that these motorcycle wheels, they're part of the cockpit assembly, and they go right behind that windscreen that we substituted or not, depending on your preference. And here are two of them, one, two. And you can see that they're in between the Technic treads that go all the way around the exterior. Um, just looking at the pictures of the B-Wing, yeah, I think dark bluish gray would be fine. So let's see how much those cost. So here's our wheel. It's part number 88517, dark bluish gray. These are significantly cheaper than light bluish gray. Yeah, $2 each. There's only one of them here, so we'd have to have another store anyway, and 325. So, I'm going to substitute a dark bluish gray wheel, and it's probably going to be fine. So select dark bluish gray, add to the want list, down here, add, and we'll search for our wheel. So here's our new one, and here's the old one. Substitute a dark bluish gray. All right. So now, since I think I closed the other window, let's run the algorithm again and see where we're at. All right. So now we're at $237. So what was that? $100 off plus. This is getting to be more manageable. Still a long way to go, but let's keep at it. So you'll also notice we're up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stores now. Some of them are the same. I think Las Vegas Bricks is the same. Yeah, let's just keep looking. So this is new, 12 lot, 66 parts, 8 by 3 by 2 open left wedge. So this part I know is uncommon, at least in the United States, and you can actually see it right here. So if you want the look, I don't think you can change that one. I think we're just going to have to eat it. This Technic panel is also pretty expensive. That's part of the stand. Um, Assuming you want the stand, then you could take that out if you want. But I'm going to say this is okay just because those parts are fairly important and it's hard to get around the look of this light bluish gray wedge here. Next, so there's that windscreen. So this is the next problem. The slope curved 1 by 4 by 1 1/3, $11.15 each. Yeah, I don't think so. Let's try this one. All right, so originally it's in dark bluish gray. So these are very expensive as well. And I think part of the problem is that a lot of people either don't ship to me in the United States, these international sellers, and then the ones that do don't have a lot of quantity. So yeah, let's find out where these go and see if we can make a substitution here. And these go right here. And I think there are a couple other ones too. So with this one, it's kind of difficult. Like you can see that their Lego's kind of going for a dark bluish gray stripe along the wings. Um, you could leave that. It's not really going to be that noticeable in my opinion because, if you put a light bluish gray slope here, the front of the wing is fine, and you just have to see the top of the wing. Notice there's something going on there. Or, alternatively, you could just make this whole thing light bluish gray. A little more in depth than I want to go in this video, but let's say that you're okay with a light bluish gray slope here. Let's check the price on those. Yeah, this looks much more agreeable. So 5 cents for three of them, unfortunately. 21 cents from this guy who has six, so that's pretty great. Maybe that'll show up. Let's just make the substitution. And for this, I think it's already on. Okay, so it's already on in light bluish gray. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this to 4, and then change the wanted quantity to 8. And then if you want to, you can put a note here. And let's see where that leads us in terms of final cost. So now we're at $329, which is actually, I think, a little bit more than it used to be. However, we've gone from 6 stores down to 4. So, you got to figure that the, $5 or however many dollars we're saving on parts gets made up for at least by, shipping costs. So shipping is going to be at least $4 probably in the United States. In Canada, it's probably going to be more. So, by eliminating 2 U.S. stores, we saved $8, but we've added, 5 or 6 back on shipping, or sorry, on parts. So that's okay. Um, all right, well, let's just keep going. So 26 parts, $135. That's crazy. What is so expensive? Okay, same things. All right, so this, you can see that, the open left wedges have gotten more expensive. Unfortunate. The tile 8 by 16. This is for the display plaque here. And since we already decided we're not getting the sticker, let's just eliminate it. Sorry about all the clicking back and forth here. So I'm going to put a remark not needed for the sticker, and then we'll search for that 8 by 16 tile. Not needed. All right. All right, so we added a bunch more stores. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we added 3 stores, so you gotta figure that's probably another, plus $12-ish, maybe up to 15 in shipping. Um, however, we went from 320 something, 329 down to $181. That is significant. How much is that? 329 minus 181. So we saved, saved quote unquote, $148 by eliminating one part. And so that's kind of the larger point I wanted to make about Brickling's algorithm. It can be really sensitive to, very small changes, especially for the more expensive parts. So that's why it's definitely good to go through and, use the want list feature and put in the quantities that you already have from wherever you're drawing them from. You might be really pleasantly surprised. You hit the jackpot if you eliminate, one 8 by 16 tile and you, reduce your costs by $150. But also, even if you're adding small parts like, these Technic pins or something, or 1 by 2 bricks, and you go from 6 stores down to 5. So by adding 2 cents in parts, you've saved yourself $5 in shipping. So that's why it's really important, I think, to be thorough, go through your collection, and just add everything back in, or list everything in your wanted list as a have before you actually buy anything. So the last thing I'm going to go through, and I'm not going to demonstrate it, I don't think, just because it's probably not that intuitive, and it's hard to show in the algorithm. Um, let's see here. So bricks. Bricks are, this is not a good example, but Maybe we can find an example in the instructions. So bricks are tricky because, 1 by 4, there are a lot of ways to make 1 by 4. You can use four 1 by 1s. You can use two 2 by 1s. I've got a project I'm working on that calls for like 24 1 by 10 black bricks. And I don't want to buy 24 1 by 10 black bricks, and I have a ton of them, a ton of black bricks in various sizes already. So what I did was I just substituted in for 1 by 4. Say I have 50 2 by 1 tan bricks. So that makes 25 1 by 4 tan bricks if the model can support it. So let's try and find where these tan 1 by 4 bricks go. All right, so here's the tan 1 by 4 brick, at least one of them. And it looks like it goes in the bottom of the laser pod, or the bottom weapons pod. So first thing about this is that this doesn't have to be tan. So if I have a random 1 by 4 brick of any color, I would substitute that in and mark it as having it. But let's say the color did matter, and as long as it's not structurally important, then you can substitute any number of bricks in here. You can do four 1 by 1s, two 2 by 2s, whatever. You could also do two 1 by 1s on the outside if the color was important and it's not structural, and then put a random 1 by 2 or 2 by 1, sorry, in the middle. This can also be used with plates, again, if it's not structural. So for example, this 1 by 2, or sorry, 4 by 2, 2 by 4 plate, maybe you could use a two 2 by 2 plates or something like that. Doesn't work so well with Technic just because the holes are going to be off, so don't do that. But you have to look in the instructions and see if you can get away with it. And then either you have it, or some of the larger bricks like the 1 by 16s are really expensive. So to the extent that you can kind of make those up with bricks in your collection that you already have, um, even if there are smaller subunits of those, obviously you should do that. So that all feeds back into marking down what you have. This is not a good example because there aren't any really long ones, and these parts aren't too uncommon anyway. But that's one thing you can consider as well: bricks and plates, and just make sure that it's not going to be structurally important. So that's kind of the overview of what I wanted to do today, at the risk of making this a little long. So in summary, you know, obviously use the parts you have and mark them down because the algorithm is pretty sensitive. Two, consider any color substitutions for parts that are not hidden in the final build. Three, go through and find the expensive parts and make substitutions where appropriate, or at least know what you're getting into when it comes to really rare parts that only show up in one set. So if you can substitute something and you're happy with how it looks, then that's great. You can save yourself a bunch of money. For UCS sets in particular, I guess, decide if you want the sticker and the associated tile. There are some more parts that you can eliminate. Say you don't want the stand, you can go through and eliminate all of this stuff that you need for the stand. Um, that'll save you some money too. But especially, if you don't need the sticker, you don't need the tile, and you also don't need these, hinge parts to support it there. And then last but not least, math matters. So if you've got a mock or a set that you want to, part out, and it's got a bunch of long bricks or bricks of, sizes you don't have, um, see what you have in your inventory and see if you can, you know, add a 1 by 4 and a 1 by 4 to make a 1 by 8. You got to be careful of that. If it's structurally important, you don't want to create any unnecessary weak points. But if it's just in the middle of a TIE fighter wing or something, it's not going to matter. Just use what you have. So here we went down from 430 or whatever it was, $430 to 181 with 7 stores. So 7 times 5, 35. So you're probably looking at $210 for the UCS B-Wing, albeit without the sticker and without the plaque. But funny side note, you can actually buy the plaque for $10 already mounted on that tile. I saw this. This one guy has the tile and the sticker for sale for $10, so that's not bad. Um, So, say you actually did want it. So now you're up to, you know, 191. I mean, that's basically what it retailed for, right? And you've pretty much gotten away with getting a UCS B-Wing for not very much money. And like I said, for the casual observer, it's not going to matter. For if you wanted to play with this, it's not going to matter. It's really only for collectors that it's going to matter. I guess in fairness, if you're interested in the UCS B-Wing to begin with, and you're probably a collector, and these probably uh, won't be acceptable changes to you, but that means you've also got deep pockets. So if you apply these to your mocks, I mean, I think you'll find that you're going to save, a bunch of money. It does take time, but then again, gathering parts takes time anyway. So it's not like you aren't going to spend it to begin with. Um, and it all depends on what you value. If you find this to be fun, I personally find it very rewarding if I can knock down the price of a mock that I'm working on or want to build by 20% or something, just based off of existing inventory and kind of these tricks that I showed you today. That really makes me happy. If you don't want to mess around with this, and you don't want to get an appreciation for the peculiarities of Brickling's algorithm, then by all means, just skip it. Anyway, I hope you found these tips to be instructive at least. Highly encourage you to play around with parts lists that you're working on, and see what you can do. If you have any comments or suggestions, I know I didn't cover everything. These aren't all the tips and tricks that I use on a semi-daily basis, but these are the main ones. By all means, leave them in the comment. Otherwise, I hope to see you back next time. Thank you very much.